Today we're picking up and reading some Roadrunner 3 tube counters. I'll do a video for installation another day, but I'm using my phone and it's raining pretty good today. I dried this off after getting in the van. But everything is program interface plugs in right here. I'll remove that. I usually use a coin or something, or you can keep a flat screwdriver up here, but I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Then I'll continue the video. And it is a USB interface there. And this cable can't be plugged in the wrong way. It's got a little notch which goes to the top, just like that. These are red. Sorry, I'll flip my screen just for a second. The Centurion Software right there. Time and traffic. When this opens, it scans the COM port to see if there's a counter connected automatically and begins to download. Alright, this is what it looks like when it first comes up, and this is incorrect. I don't want to process this yet. See that little process button? Because we definitely want classifications. So I want to make sure once this is read that that's always checked. It may be checked by default, and if it's not, you want to change it before you process the data for two directions like that. So then the next thing I want to do is process the data and then import. It's going to open this up. Alright, and we have access to 3 reports: vehicles, classification. You can click on those tabs, and volume. The 2 reports that IDOT is going to want are the vehicle report and the classification report. The study has to be trimmed for a start time, because when you put this counter out, it's already on. When you pick it up, it's still running, unlike the high stars or even the traffic tally 4s, the TT4s. It doesn't do an exact time period. This will count as long as you leave it out. And of course, they want a 24-hour study. Regardless of what this start time says, I have a start time in my field sheet. That might have been when I turned it on and put it on the dash. My actual start time, once I had it in the roadway secure, was 8:45 a.m. It's the top line there. So then I'll go back to trim that from 8:45 yesterday, and then ran till I picked it up here at 9:06, so 8:45 a.m. Now, just entering it there hasn't changed the data that was produced in this report. You have to rebuild report. Click that. You'll only have to do that once. Once it's done, those times are done. You can switch between these reports and produce them, and they'll have the correct times. So let me click on the classification report. Well, there it is. We can see it, but I actually need a copy of that. So down here it says, the very bottom menu option, open in Excel. So I'll open an Excel document with that data. That is the classification summary report. You do not have the option and in the program interface to enter which lane is which. I'll go over that on installation, how you know that, which tube goes in which order. But here it says lane number 1, lane number 2. That's not there. That's going to need to be there. So I'll go back here. The inventory direction for this location is east. I've got these columns really collapsed, but this is the inventory direction, which is east. And knowing how I installed the tube, I know that that is east. I don't want that capitalized. East. is lane 1, west is lane 2. Everything else is in the program. The location number, the road, municipality, or in this case just rural Sangamon County. But the lane directions are not. The ports on the counter are labeled A and B, and the tube that is struck first in that direction, they would be going east when they strike that tube. That's why I have east one direction and west the other. All right, so this report is edited, but I want to save a copy because we have to submit that. Save as. I keep them on in a folder on my desktop that's just for counts. Traffic counts 2022. Road counts, Roadrunner counts. This is for this week. And don't see anything in there, even though I have reports in there, because I always change them to an Excel workbook. There's some of my other studies from earlier this week. Right now, I'm just going to call this class. Now the location number's there. I can go ahead and save that. Okay, now this is a report that we use to enter the fields in the submittal. Okay, here we are, this very top axle class summary. Where I'm working, IDOT District 6, I can go with totals, but they want directional data in District 7. So I can go over here. Lane 1 is total of 239, lane 2 a total of 204, or a total of 443 vehicles through this location in 24 hours. So let's do that first. 239, and then I'll explain this when we're together. Lane 1, the first 3 columns are passenger vehicles, and there should be a total down here, sum. It's nice that this adds it for you. 202 of those 239 were passenger vehicles. Let's go ahead and enter that. Okay, so, and I don't know what, if you're the submittal you use or will be entering into looks like this. And I'm really actually not going to enter this because I enter this differently where I'm working. But the width, which is east, all that data would be entered here. The 239 would be in this first column, passenger vehicles, and as you add the other columns, and I'll go over that, and that's your classification numbers. So let me show you how I actually do it. I do just raw counts here. So go back to this report. Lane 1 and lane 2, there's a total line, which is 443. So go back over here where the totals are. 443, and what do those add up to? 403. So let's do that. 443, 403. Go back to my report. Get like light truck numbers. And that is 4 columns through number 7. 1 through 3, 4 through 7. It's pretty easy to add without looking at the bottom of the screen. 31 and 4 is 35 vehicles in that column. And there, 35. So we're at a total of 438. We're missing 5 vehicles still. Let's see where they are. Every column but the last one, number 13, goes in the next section. Very seldom will there be anything in 13 because that is a really large vehicle, perhaps a double truck or something, and we're on a back road, greater than 99 feet. So there's 100% classification, and that I can save. Control save. Need to go back here. This report is saved. IDOT's going to want it. I can close it. The other report I need to create, that's a classification, is this vehicle report. It's already trimmed for the times. Once again, I'll produce it into Excel. Once again, I'll add the inventory direction, width, designated against is west, and then that report I can save. I don't obtain any of my data from it, but they want it. So that's pretty much how you read those counters. Now the other thing is when you're done reading one of these, it's really best to stop the counter and close it out, because simply unplugging this, it will continue reading a study, and then when you go to pick it up, the next time you set it or go to program it, it'll read forever because it might have been sitting in your vehicle for a couple days. So I close that. Over here is the setup and monitor, which is what you use when you program a counter. Typically, this middle button, reset unit, is where you would program a counter, but I need to go into the advanced setup. Not everyone does this. I always do this because it saves me a lot of time in the field, and I don't have the counters running the batteries constantly. So here on the left, it's monitoring. It's actually recording now, this counter is. And if I just unplugged it, it would be the whole time sitting in the van. Stop recording. Once it's stopped, you can go over here to files. And that's the location number. It read the first one. As you can see, it's a little larger, the one I actually wanted, and then it started another study with the same location number. I want to go here to erase entire memory. Yes, I'm sure I want to. I have the reports that are needed already saved. Then I hit disconnect, and once I do that, over here it will tell me disconnect device, and I can do that and the counter's not running. Then I can close the Centurion Software and the counter's ready for the next study.